Okay, I just had something go a little sideways, but I think we're good now. Anyway, uh, Lowdown Nation, it is great to see each and every one of you on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, however you're seeing it. We're here to celebrate bass players. We're here to celebrate local music. And tonight it is my privilege to have with me Mr. Chance Reynolds of the Atlanta band TraumaBond. How you doing tonight, Chance?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on here, dude. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, I guess we'll just get right into the meat and potatoes.
Alrighty.
And
I like meat. I like meat and potatoes, bro.
you're not
If you
the
can't
only
tell.
one, man. I am a carnivore.
Yeah, all the way. Mhm. I didn't get this
so,
president for no reason.
so, um, so, Chance, how long have you been playing bass?
um, boy, well, it's kind of a two-part series, I guess you would say. I got my first bass whenever I was 11. My dad bought me a bass whenever I was 11, and kind of messed around with that for a while. And then eventually, like in high school, I started jamming with some buddies and all that. Did it all the way up until about 23 or 25. Played in a couple of bands, nothing really major. Uh, Moved to Atlanta area about 25. Took like a 5-year hiatus, and right before like I hit 30, I kind of met up with some guys and started jamming in an old project we used to have, and kind of fell back in love with it, and got in TraumaBond about a year ago, or a little less than a year. It's been a little less than a year, and man, just freaking love playing it. So I've been playing it since for about a good solid, I would say, 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny. It was Jono from First One Dies that actually recommended you guys.
Yeah,
He says y'all are sort of
thanks,
sister
John.
bands
Yeah,
to some extent. So
yeah.
so yeah.
A lot of the same members, but like, well, besides me and Nate, our drummer in TraumaBond, like it's the same. It's like the same guys, but a complete different band. Like we have a complete different sound from First One Dies. And it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty sweet how diverse they are, man. Like going from like deathcore to hardcore. It's pretty awesome, man. Playing with these guys.
Absolutely. So, in your journey as a bass player, Chance, have you ever taken lessons, or are you pretty much self-taught? How did that go?
No, I'm pretty much self-taught, man. I'm still learning as I go too, and still, you know, I have no adaptation to skill, or I could barely read tab now. Being 36 years or almost 36 years old. So I just I just fake it until I make it, man. To be honest with
I get it.
you.
I get it. So, besides bass, do you play any other instruments?
Not really. I mean, I'm pretty much just a solid bass player, man, all the way. But I mean, I'll dabble with a keyboard, and I'm scared to death of drums. I like to think I'm coordinated enough to play drums, and once I sit there, I'm just like.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, man, just solid bass. I love bass. I
hmm
always have.
So, do you have any preference yourself between fingerstyle or using a pick, or is it situational?
Normally I do both, man. Whenever I started off with Trauma Bond, like I played with a pick, but once I got more into learning the songs and being more comfortable with them, I'm starting to use my fingers more often now. Getting a little bit more speed back from my youth, but I mean, I started just playing finger, but going through like thrash bands and all that, like I played with a pick, but I really thoroughly enjoyed just playing without a pick, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So tell me about your current gear and your live setup. You know, what do you play? What do you play through? Do you use any effects? Stuff like that.
I got two different basses that I play with normally. Well, not I'll play with one bass through the whole show, but like I switch basses every show that we play. And
Gotcha.
I got a 5-string Ibanez SRX. That's I don't know. I love that thing. It sounds awesome, like especially like recording live with it, or not recording live, but just recording in general. And then a
Mm-hmm.
PV, and I cannot remember the model of it. And it's also a 5-string, so man, those they sound killer. And then I also play through if they have like a DI at the venue or whatever that we're playing. I got a deluxe big muff pedal that I play through, and that thing sounds freaking like I just recently bought it, and dude, that sounds killer. I love it. I'm still trying to mess with it to get like a unique sound that I want to play live
Mm-hmm.
with. So it's like a hit or miss every time like I play with it, but I haven't been disappointed with it at all, to be honest with you. And I
Right.
love it.
Yeah, I was, kind of prowling through your social media this week just in preparation for this. I saw a lot of references to Ibanez, and I'm an Ibanez guy myself.
Yeah,
I love my Ibanez 5-string.
yeah,
I mean, I just love the way Ibanez guitars play in general.
yeah, yeah.
Just
They're smooth,
really,
man, and they're pretty
hmm
light too. I mean, like they don't put a lot of weight on you, and like you can move around pretty good with them and all that. I love them.
right, right. So do you have a real preference yourself between 4 and 5 string basses, or do you really care?
I don't really care. Like, well, the music that I play now with TraumaBond, it's preferably to have a 5-string because
Right.
you just want thicker gauge strings, on your bass and everything to sound heavier. We're playing heavier music and all that. So, I mean, I'm used
Right.
to. I used to have an Epiphone Thunderbird whenever I played in thrash bands back in Texas and all that, and I really enjoyed those. But I mean, I beat them to hell, to be honest with you. But that's what I started. That's what I started off playing. But the guys taught me, he was like, you need to get a 5-string bass. And I was like, okay, I'll
Gotcha.
get a 5-string. So, and so I don't think I'll go back to 4-string unless, I'll go back to, messing around with punk or something.
Right. Right. So, musicians tend to collect gear. Do you have anything unique or unusual in your gear collection or your arsenal, whatever you want to call it?
I don't know if you would call it unusual, but I still have my childhood bass that my father bought me. I
Oh,
mean,
that's cool.
I think that's the coolest thing that I have. Just, I mean, it still plays too. I mean, there's only 2 strings still strapped to it, barely. But I got it out like maybe a year or 2 ago, and like just hooked it
hmm
into my amp and played it, and I was like, man, like takes me back to like my parents had a watershed behind their house, and that's where I would go like jam. Like I steal my brother's amplifier and like take it back there and like go jam like the little watershed we had in our backyard. And every time I look at that thing, I'm trying to repaint it right now, but I should have just kept it how it was. But trying to make it pretty. I'm trying to bring it back to life so I could play with it, maybe live one day. But I think it's pretty cool to
Gotcha.
have still.
Gotcha. Well, here's another, I guess, gear related question. How often do you change strings?
Whenever they tell me to. No,
Yeah.
normally I like to do it like every like I don't know. TraumaBond we try to practice every like 2 weeks, and I try to switch
hmm
between both bases every so often. But I'll fall in love with one and then get mad at it and fall in love with the other one. But I try to change it like every 3 months, maybe.
Right. Right.
It might be a bad habit, but like they'll be like, hey, your strings are sounding like crap, so you need to change them. I'm like, okay.
Right. Well, bass strings are not cheap.
No, no, they're not.
So, for any of you that are watching live right now, if you have any questions or any comments, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm going to take a quick pop over to the Instagram feed and see what we're looking at here. And we'll go from there. So anyway, so Chance, what are some of your musical influences?
Oh man, I got a wide variety of it. I just started my earlier years, like probably my first musical influence was probably ZZ Top.
Mm-hmm.
Just from being like riding around with my mom, like going to school, like being picked up from school and all that.
Right.
She had like little cassette tape that she would pop in. It's like ZZ Top's like greatest hits and like what was that song? Oh, Waiting on the Bus. Jesus Left Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's every time I hear that song, man. Like it's just that's what like really gets me going. And
Gotcha.
of course, my older brother, he's 8 years older than me, and he always used to like being from Texas originally is the GOAT is Pantera, Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
He always pushed Pantera on me. So that's pretty methodically what got me into like being a hardcore, metalhead, was listening to Pantera, growing up loving Pantera, man. They're like the crop of the cream for me, man. Pantera. I love Pantera.
Well, like you said, both of us being originally from Texas, you can't escape Pantera and you can't escape ZZ Top.
No, man. Like I know it's like homegrown, but like I mean, here in Atlanta, man, I love Mastodon too. Like whenever I moved to Atlanta, I was like, holy crap, Mastodon's from Atlanta. So I was like,
yep.
And I got to finally catch them a couple. Was it last year? I think. Yeah, I took my oldest and I finally got to go see Mastodon, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And like Troy Sanders, man, the way I love his sound and everything, the way he plays, and I just love it, man. Mastodon's awesome, too.
Absolutely. So, who are some of your favorite bass players?
Les Claypool, man, he's just
Primus, yeah.
He's just stupid good. My buddy back in high school, probably 15 years old, like introduced me to Primus. I was like, this man's stupid. He's like, no, listen to their bass player. Like, just listen to him. I was like, okay. He's like, he's singing too. And I was like, what? He's doing that crap and singing at the same time. So I was like, what? So like, it kind of blew my mind. Like, it still blows my mind how he plays. And I try to mimic him, but it doesn't happen.
Right. So what was the very first concert you ever went to?
4 years old, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
Yeah. No, but for real though. But the first rock show that I went to, I probably was like 15 or 16. I was 15 because I couldn't drive yet. And I had a 16-year-old buddy and another buddy who was 16, and we took his truck, and it was about where Midland, Texas is? Midland?
Mm-hmm.
We went to a show, like a festival called Rock the Desert. And I think the headlining band was POD.
Mm-hmm.
And we were supposed to go see them. And like we drove there and got there that night. And like we were supposed to stay at a buddy's, like his mom lived in Midland. We're supposed to stay at her house. But like we tried to call him and like he didn't answer, so we ended up like all three of us ended up sleeping in the back of his truck bed at like a gas station. And like it was the most sketchiest crap. But then he finally like answered the phone that morning, and that morning like we finally got to his mom's house, good to take a shower and then go to the show. And the show got canceled because the West Texas weather, it's always freaking blowing and sand everywhere. Like it was practically like in the middle of the festival, like knocking down all the band equipment and all that. So it was pretty good. It was a pretty good first little rock concert I got to go to. It was pretty good experience, I would say.
Nice. So over the course of what you've been doing musically, have you had a chance to meet any of your musical heroes?
I haven't, man. Like, I know I've been to Blackstrap, and Kyle Sanders. He played with Vinnie Paul from Pantera and all that. I met Kyle Sanders. Really awesome guy, man. Pretty cool that he got to play with Vinnie Paul, and he's freaking phenomenal bass player himself, man. But other than that, no, I haven't really got to meet anybody yet.
Gotcha. So away from music, what are some of your hobbies and interests?
Just being a dad, man. I love being a father now. I got 4 sons, and everything they do, it just blows my mind, dude. Kids are awesome.
Yeah, they are. So tell me a little bit about your family.
I got 4 kids, or 4 boys, and man, they're all, it's like a carnival every time I walk through the door. So in my chaotic life, man, I love it. But
I'm sure.
I got, my oldest is 15. I got a 10-year-old, and I got 2 5-year-olds. The 2 youngest are like 10 months apart, and I don't know how that happens. But I'm irresistible, like I said.
So
I'm stupid.
So tell me about TraumaBond. How long have you guys been together? How did the band form? Where did the name come from? I know what a TraumaBond is, but how does it apply to the band? So tell me the story.
Well, I'm kind of the last member to the band, so it was kind of like established, but I kind of got the gist of it or whatever. So like it started, it's like a project that Nate, the drummer, and Ray, our guitar player, had like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And our other guitar player, Noah, me and him were in another band called Terra Versa with our singer, Brandon, who's also on first. It's like a 3-piece, whatever. 3-piece chicken, whatever. And like Noah, like Terra Versa was kind of dying off. Like it was kind of just like we couldn't really get nothing like connected and going. So Noah is also when First One Dies, and he started the project TraumaBond with Ray and Nate, and once Terra Versa kind of died off, Noah asked me, he was like, why don't you try to come play bass or whatever? Or like, I couldn't remember. Or I pretty much like asked him, I was like, because I heard a little bit of their stuff like recorded. I was like, damn, dude, I would love to play. I would love to play in that band. Y'all sound freaking awesome. And so like he talked to Ray and Nate, and they're like, yeah, man, bring Chance over. Like, we'll come jam. So I jammed, like they already had like five songs established. So I jammed those songs, and like I said, I faked it until I made it. And so finally, like after a couple practices, I finally got the songs down. We brought Brandon in, who also was the singer of Terra Versa, First One Dies, and now he's the singer of TraumaBond. And his vocals, man, Brandon's such a killer vocalist, dude. His range of singing to screaming is just wild. And so the name TraumaBond, like established, I mean, we all have like trauma in our life, and we all try to interconnect and bond together through our trauma. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I think they actually wrote it as before, like the band had a name, like they had a song called TraumaBond, and they're like, hell, that's a cool name. Let's just use that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, bass players are usually in a partnership of sorts with the drummer as the rhythm section for the band. Tell me about your relationship with TraumaBond's drummer, and how has that gone?
That dude's awesome. I mean, he's a old school, like, hardcore style drummer. He's technically not a drummer, he's a guitar player, but like, he wanted to get TraumaBond going, and he stepped in and played drums. And dude, he's freaking killer. I mean, he's got a hardcore style to him, and I'm an old school hardcore style kind of bass player, and I just love it, man. He's me and him have a good relationship. He's an awesome dude. Like, not only is he a good drummer, he's a freaking awesome person.
Well, you can't ask for much more than that.
No.
I mean, it's really a blessing to be in a situation like that with people that you love and respect.
Yeah,
so.
I have full respect for Nate, man. Everything he asks from me, I will do. He's awesome.
Gotcha. So, tell me about the songwriting process within TraumaBond. Is there a primary writer, or is it a collaborative thing? How does that go?
Well, when it first started, like the 5 songs or 6 songs that they had, well, I mean, we're always writing more and more stuff every time we practice, just to find our unique tone. Like, we don't have we're just everywhere right now, to be honest with you, but with our sound, which is killer. But when it first started, it was pretty much just Ray and Nate, just writing majority of the stuff. Nate wrote pretty much all the lyrics to the songs, like, that were established, and Brandon kind of critiqued them as he went along. So whenever I joined the band, probably the last 3 or 4 months, we've written more than half of our songs now, and everybody has like a little bit of uniqueness to it. Like, we got a blend of hardcore, we have a blend of deathcore, we have a blend of thrash to it. And so, I mean, It's pretty awesome. Like, everybody has their own special, unique take.
So, do you play in any other bands or side projects aside from TraumaBond?
No, not right now. No,
okay.
Just straight TraumaBond.
Gotcha. So is TraumaBond anything approaching a full-time thing?
No. Well, we would like to be. I mean, I guess that's
the dream. Yeah.
Goal and ambition whenever they start a band. No, but I mean, we're just having fun, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
It's a good fun process, and if it blows up, that's awesome. If it doesn't, that's awesome. I mean, we're just doing what we do.
Do what you do, and do it for the love of the music, not necessarily the fame and fortune.
No, It's all about the music, man, and playing with your brothers and playing for the people. Whoever wants to listen.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about your day job.
Well, I do maintenance work. It's for an on-site property. It's not as big as Chateau Lawn, but it's pretty good size property that I work for. I run maintenance out there and do all that, and it's like honeydew stuff, construction, a little bit of construction, not too out or like extraordinary, but it's awesome, dude. I've been with the same job since I moved to Georgia, so it's been 8 years.
Oh, that's great.
So I've been lucky and fortunate to have the same job since I moved here, and I love it. I love it out there, dude.
That's a blessing.
It really is.
So what is, if you can narrow it down to one or two, what is the most interesting experience you've had playing live?
Most interesting experience I've had playing live. Probably just the reaction from people after the shows, man. It's just, it's a good feeling when somebody comes up to you and be like, man, y'all freaking rocked it, dude. Y'all are awesome. That's probably the best thing I get out of shows, man. Just like when people just how they react to like something you've created and something you've done. I really love that.
So what would you say is your favorite TraumaBond song to play live?
Ooh, probably our song "Monstrous." It's got a real good like heavy groove, some thrash to it. It's like the groove is kind of like a menacing groove, like a monster is about to get you. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's a really good groove, man. And that and probably, I mean, I love them all, dude. To be honest with you, but that one and one that I kind of help write, it's called Sludge. Uh, I just was diddling around with it, and like Ray and Noah made it a lot better because they're a lot more talented. Whatever. Sludge is a good one that I like playing live. And Overboard, we have a song called Overboard, and it sounds like, it sounds like a Mastodon song, but like a little not as technical. And that's also a fun one to play.
Gotcha. I'm going to take a quick look over at Instagram and see if anybody's making any comments or anything over there.
All right.
Let's see here. I don't see any comments on here. Well, April, who's a friend of my wife's and I, is on there and just says, "Hey."
Hey, April.
And that's about it. Moving on a little bit, what is your actual hometown?
I was born in Lubbock, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And my actual hometown is, oh man, it's like, if you look at a map and get like a microscope, it's like 200 people in that little small town where I practically grew up. And it's Wood Harrell. The town's called Wood Harrell, and it's 200 people. And I went to a school, like literally was in the same school, kindergarten through 12th grade. And I just moved down the hallway, like to each room, like kindergarten through 12th. So I spent 13 years in that school. And it's kindergarten through 12th. And my graduating class was 13 people.
Wow.
And I didn't make top 10. So that's
well, there's a lot to be said for small town life.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun, man. It was kind of like going to a private school, but not really. Like you grew up with everybody, you still know everybody. Which like my oldest now, like he goes to school and he's like, I'm like, do you like see anybody that you go to school with last year? He's like, I never see him. So I'm like, it's just a weird like difference, like from the way I grew up, the way he's growing up. It's crazy to me. I was like, what do you mean you don't know anybody that you go to school with?
So, what would you say is your favorite thing about the Atlanta area?
Everything, man. Like, it's just a complete different culture from what I grew up from. Like, it's just bigger. There's trees.
Yeah.
there's rivers. There's lakes. I mean,
yeah.
The Atlanta scene, but like as far as like rock and all that, like it's a big scene, man. Like I've never seen so many like good actual like local bands. There's so many of them, like, and they just keep on popping out. So every new band you hear about that you like, either that you play with or you go see like a local show or whatever, like nobody's like horrible. They're just, everybody's freaking good, which is good for the scene.
Oh, absolutely. So, This actually is a question that we're fixing to get to, that I have asked on every one of these, and it has become my favorite question because I always get some amazing responses. And that is, if you could, knowing everything you know now, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Oh man, there's a you got time? No,
I've got time.
no, pretty much. You know, don't be stupid. Like, um, probably the best advice I can give to my younger self is just, I mean, try to trust the process of how life goes and handles, because it's always not easy. I mean, you just gotta understand how things work sometimes and try to roll through it, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I try not to dwell on the past too much, though. It's just it is what it is sometimes, man.
Well, the way I look at it, Chance, the past is the past for a reason.
Yep. Just got to move
And
forward. Keep moving forward.
move forward, let the past be the past, and don't let it, keep its chains on you.
Yep. Exactly, man.
So, do you have any suggestions for any other up and coming bands to either check out or potentially to reach out to for one of these bass player interviews?
Yeah. Actually, I have two, if that's okay. Two.
Oh yeah, have at it. You can suggest as many as you want, Chance.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We might
God,
be here. We might be here all night.
two that are just popping off right off the top of my head. We got done playing Furnace Fest Saturday with a band called Antagonist Theory, and their bass player Jason McLean for Antagonist Theory. Like, he's a pretty good bass player, man. Like, you need to definitely talk to that dude. And also another band that we played TraumaBond's first show with, Jay Dar. He plays with the Tarnished. He's also a really phenomenal bass player. Pretty good dude too. Like, he's got a lot of good things going on too, man. Especially both bands. They're very, very talented bands. You need to check them both out. They're awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. I will, after this is over, I'll touch base with you and Antagonist Theory, and I'll get the other one from you. Yeah, the Tarnished.
Yep.
So, something else that we've been doing the whole time I've been doing these is the person being interviewed gives a question to ask to the next person being interviewed. So, like I mentioned, my last one was with Jono from First One Dies. And so the question that he posed is, how do you think you could better use your platform as a performing artist to not only bring exposure to you and your band, TraumaBond, but also to really bring attention to the Atlanta scene? How do you think you could best do that?
Just communicate with people like as best as possible. Like, especially like we're in the technology age now, to where you can put anything you want on social media, and it's a wide variety to people. And just, when you see another band, like if you're following another band on your page, I'm like, hey, we got a show tonight. Just put it on your story. Just post it. Like, just post it out for them. Just try to get them to your people. So that's the best way I see fit for it. Like, and just whenever you go out to shows, talk about other bands, that you've played with, and get that bond, that bond going,
that TraumaBond?
That trauma bond going. I mean, that's what it's about, man. That's what the scene should be about, is like everybody bonding together. Like, it doesn't matter if you play punk, hardcore, deathcore, thrash, metal, country, whatever. Like, we'll throw a country band in there. That's fine, man.
Yeah.
Why not? Want everybody, the whole scene to be exposed, man, because there's really a bunch of talent around here.
Oh, there is.
That people need to hear about and watch and see, man. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Like I said, I've been just kind of scratching the surface of the Atlanta scene so far, and man, I've seen just so much talent, and and so many cool people, and people that you're really pulling for to make a go of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love it too, man. It's like everybody that I've talked to, they act like it's not a competition, dude. It's just everybody. They want to hear everybody. They want to see everybody. They want to support everybody, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very cooperative, everybody pulling together as opposed to trying to pull each other down.
It help set up shows. They're like, hey, well, let's play. Are you available for this show, or you want to play this show, or
right?
It's good, man. The communication between bands is awesome here, dude.
Yeah. So, since this is a series, is there a question that you would like for me to ask the next person in the hot seat?
Oh, well, this might be a fun question. What would be your venue or festival you would like to, your dream festival or your dream venue you would like to play at? That would ensure you that yourself or your band has made it.
Right, your bucket list gig.
Yeah, your bucket list gig. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a really cool question. That's going to be a lot of fun. Actually, I can go ahead and mention my next guest is actually I just finalized things with him today. I've got this guy Morgan Johnson, goes by Mojo, and he's a bass player in a band up in the Carolinas called Sometime in February, I believe. And I'm going to be talking to him next Tuesday night. So everybody watching, definitely plan to catch that one a week from now.
You got one right here, brother.
Awesome. Glad to hear you'll be checking it out. I've actually been working on getting him on for a while. He was recommended to me by a guy named Ben Westcott, who was my second guest. He's a bass player for a band up in South Carolina called Harry and the Hootenannies. And Ben was a really cool guy, and so I'm definitely excited to get Mojo on here finally. So we know that you and TraumaBond are on Instagram. Do you guys have any other social media you'd like to hype?
We got a little bit of stuff on TikTok, and it's pretty much. I mean, I control the Instagram and the Facebook, or everybody controls the Facebook, and I control the Instagram and our TikTok, but we don't have anything on YouTube yet. I mean, we're still pretty much like a baby band still. Like, we're just barely coming out of the shell and crawling out, just trying to climb our way through the surface, and yeah, we got a little stuff on TikTok, and definitely hit us up on Instagram. I mean, that's pretty much where we throw a lot of our content out, is on Instagram. So feel free to message us, man.
Well, like I said to you, once this is over, I'll be putting some clips from this up on TikTok, and I'll tag you guys on TikTok for those clips, and I'll be letting you know when the full edited version is up on YouTube, and then I'll be reposting this onto Instagram. It'll have to be in probably 3 parts because there's a time limit on the reels. So
Gotcha.
I've had to break the interviews into 3 pieces, but it is what it is.
Yes, sir.
But and then, within a few days, I'll be editing the audio together and putting that up in a podcast format. So I'll let you know about that as well.
Awesome.
Do you guys have any upcoming shows you'd like to hype, or any new music you're working on? Anything like that?
Well, our music's in the process of recording right now. I mean, it's like first one dies. Like we're taking our time. We don't want to put out something that we just don't want to push out music and it's going to sound like crap. We want to methodically like take our time and make it sound good. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have something on Spotify. I don't know if it'll be a 5-song EP. I don't know if it'll be a single or maybe 2 singles by the end of the year, but we're definitely working on it, man. And we're trying to get that. As far as shows, we got a show. I don't think our next show is until May 10th at I think it's another one at Furnace 41, and it's the Carnival of Chaos show, which
Nice.
I think it's a Friday, and it's a pretty big. It's actually a 2-day show, and I think there's like 20 bands, more than 20. Don't get me lying to you, but I think there's like 20 bands playing Friday and Saturday, between 20. So I mean, it should be a good turnout for that one. So that would be awesome. So if you want to come check it out at Furnace 41 in Jonesboro, then also I think the one after that is in. Oh man, I can't remember if it's June or July. Atlanta Utility Works. We got a pretty good one. If you follow us on Instagram or whatever, we'll post it. So that one should be a killer one. I'm looking forward to that one. It looks like a pretty cool venue.
Very cool. I'm going to pop back over to Instagram real quick and see if anybody's saying anything in the chat. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like we've got JT from Death Blender on there, and he's commenting that that Tarnished is a legit band. So
yeah,
so
yeah, they too legit.
Too legit to quit.
Yeah. Stupid, dude. I told you.
But yeah, I'm actually working on trying to get Death Blender's bass player on here. So JT, see what you can do about making that happen for us. Saw you guys, I guess a couple weeks ago now at Moe's Records up in Gainesville, and man, I don't know if you've seen Death Blender, but they put on a heck of a show.
No, I've only got to see them like on Instagram and all that from not only your posts, but like a couple other posts, and I like to jam with those dudes. They sound really good.
Absolutely. So anyway, I guess we're getting to the point where we're going to probably go ahead and start wrapping this up. Is there anything final you'd like to say, or any shout outs you want to give to anybody?
Hi, Mom. Love you, Mom. Miss you. Come see me sometime, and your grandkids and Brandy. But I really appreciate you, Matt, man. Like this whole process what you're doing for the music scene of Atlanta, and not only like the low dogs, the bass players, you know, the scum of the bands, you know, like we really appreciate it, man. Like us bass players have a voice too, and we appreciate it.
You know, man, it's been my experience. Bass players tend to get somewhat ignored. They tend to kind of be the forgotten person in the band. And you know, being a hobbyist bass player myself, I want to do what I can to change that, and you know, bring some focus. Bring some focus on the low end, man.
I know, man. We don't get enough love.
But yeah, like I said before we went live, man, this has been such a cool experience doing these. I've gotten to meet some really cool people, and you're definitely among the cool. And I look forward to staying in touch. And for all you guys that are watching, and those of you that are going to be watching on replays and such, thank you. I've really got an attitude of gratitude with this whole thing. It's really starting to gain some traction and kind of take on a life of its own. And you know, I couldn't be any happier and any more thrilled with just how this thing's growing. So, you know, if you're watching this and you like what you're seeing, you know, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube. You know, all the links for that are on my Instagram bio. I've got a link tree there that's got links to all of that. So, you know, let's grow this thing and continue to celebrate the low end, and continue to celebrate local music and music scenes around the country. I mean, you know, just for obvious reasons, my first love is the Atlanta scene, but man, I'm digging all the local scenes around the country. There's so much talent around this great country that we live in, and it's just exciting to get to touch base with these people, and just to get to know you guys as people and as friends is just really been just such a blessing. So anyway, thank you for your time, Chance, and
thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, you ever come out to a TraumaBond show, you get in for free, dude. Like you're always welcome to a TraumaBond show.
I appreciate that, brother, and I definitely look forward to getting out to see you guys. And again, thanks to everybody, and have a good night. We'll go ahead and say good night.
Adios.